Good morning, everybody, in this workshop. The access for the presentation is not very good. I have no direct access to the presentation, so we have to. Emilia will do it for me. Is very extensive. Many people need a full study of business administration to work with this all this stuff, and I try to make it a bit shorter and integrate you with your questions and your answers. In the presentation, there are some questions for you. We can discuss them and find ways for you how to deal with it. First of all, it's the ecosystem, collaboration and competition, and the relation to the farmers. A couple of weeks ago, I had a workshop, and the problem for some people was to get in contact with farmers directly, and I think it's a big issue to work on. Please click. Well, we are in a business ecosystem. If I had the mouse, I could show you what we are talking about, but so I have to speak it, and I excuse my bad English. My school days are far away from now. So we work in a network of many people, many things, and the center of all is our business model or our value network. That's what we have, and we have the focal firm that are we, and hopefully we are we. And we work in a large ecosystem. It's near with our suppliers, with the customers. And from outside, there are some limitations or helps, like the money, where the money comes from, the government who tells us what not to do. And we have the contact with the knowledge from other people. But the main thing we are talking today about is the value network and the customers. Please click. Well, the business ecosystem, we are talking about, hopefully we are talking more than about the other ecosystem. It's an environment where something is produced, to say it simple, plain and simple, and we have a community we have to deal with, as I showed you before. It's a little difference is an innovation ecosystem. Please click. And the focus in this ecosystem is not to make a product, it's to focus on developing and implementing new products, services, or processes. Are there any questions on this? No, then we continue. Next, please. If we look what's around us, we have to assess our ecosystem, and we have to identify the stakeholders, the relevant stakeholders, and the roles. We will see it later in the business model how relevant this is. And we have to identify the strengths and the gaps and the weaknesses of the ecosystem. And we have to plan how to support the ecosystem and establish links with our attract key partners. We will see it later. In this way, if you assess our ecosystem and know it well, we can make the position of our digital innovation hub better, and we can offer new identified needs to the customers. Please next. In practice, it's not easy. So if you have the a methodical way to make it, it's easier to make a big plan and sign something like a mind mapping on it. In the first place, in the ecosystem, is our strategy and our objectives. So that's later with our business model. The mapping means what partners we have and what functions they have. An example, I show it with later on with the farmers, the farm environment. If we assess the ecosystem, we can make a SWOT analysis. That means to find strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And we can find missing elements of the ecosystem. If we have want to improve our ecosystem, an action plan and strategy development to find new partners and improve the mechanism for new relationships with this ecosystem. And in the normal way, we have to monitor and reassess continuously our strategy and our impact. This is a bit theoretical, but if you go into the depths of these points, 5 points, you'll find it's quite complicated, and even to map every point is not so easy. Okay, the next one. We have the farming community as the main target group in the ecosystem. It was the point, and many people don't know who are the actors in the farming community. It's not only the farmer; it's a lot more, and it's not one farmer. It's a couple of farmers. Every farmer is different. So, in the first place, we have family farms. We have farmers, cooperatives, and associations. They are not active in the producing, but they are they supply services and so on. And then there are farming companies with a large-scale farming. Then there are farmers' representation and lobby groups, and other members in production and trading chains who are part of the target group. The next one. Is a click, or is no click anymore? Ah, yeah. And then we have the click. So there are editors of journals and publications, for example, in the internet, and there are fairs and exhibitions. And even the professional schools and universities are part of the farming community. And last but not least, it's the government and other lobby groups who are interested in farming. Not yet there? Well, can you just return once? So number 8 is not on the sheet. The sheet is too large. So if we want to make up a business or trade our experiences, trade our product, our values we have to know with whom we gonna speak. And back with that. So first of all, that's the next question. Now you can click. It's a special thing for you to answer. Who are the actors you want to address? If you would like, just wait. Perhaps you can tell that to us in the group. If you have a special target group of these few groups I mentioned. So I'd like to have some reflection for me, and it would be nice to answer some questions. Okay. Answers. No questions to it.
Maybe the attendees can place something in the chat or unmute themselves to answer who are the actors who you want to address. The more active we make this session, of course, the more benefit there will be for everyone who is attending. Unless no one is giving an example, maybe you can choose one yourself, Dieter.
Yeah. Well, who are actors we want to address? So for example, my company has a history of addressing family farms. And I think that is the largest group of all. Nevertheless, we have to address large-scale farming because they usually have more money than the family farms, and we need the money. So, for example, I want to address the family farms. So the next click. I hear often that universities and other institutions, even the FIEs, have little contact to the farmer on the land and the barn and so on. And it's not very easy to contact them. So there are many ways to do this. It's the CR, the custom visualization, we will later analyze. Well, in my place, there are some special things. Usually, we have a speaking in Germany, tue Gutes und lass andere drüber reden. Do a good thing and let others talk about that. And others say do good things and talk yourself. That's the best way to get known as a product. So we have a long history of about 50 years. So it's quite easy. We are known in the scenery, and if somebody wants to contact us, it's almost by themselves because they have interest in our services and they think they can earn more money by using the services. The contact is usually face by face. It's a changing around, so website and contact via website or via Facebook or so is improving. I think it's something like a generation gap between me and our young colleagues who are more active in this field. Contact with publications. We have long-term contacts with schools. So if there are students who are interested in our work, they know us, and for finding new colleagues, the practica in our company available, and they see all what we are doing. So if a new product is on the market, how to contact the farmers. Usually the farmers have contact with a couple of people who are coming to the farm to sell them some goods, feed stuff, something for grain production or vegetable production or something like that. But they are full of interest, so they want to sell their stuff, and that's not always the same thing than to have a objective evaluation of the product they want to sell. The young people are working much more with intense communication via WhatsApp and WhatsApp groups, chat groups. And so the information is very fast. If something is good or something is bad, they will communicate that pretty fast. So to have contact and to get contact is for newcomers very hard thing to do, and sometimes not using somebody as a vehicle to get to the farmers. But that's to discuss in every case for themselves. Okay, the next one.
I just want to interrupt, Dieter. We received a question in the meantime in the chat, and the question is, so you have chosen your target group, but how to reach now your target group if they're not operating in an online environment? So they are maybe local farmers or like old farmers. So that's maybe what you also mentioned with the generation gap. It can be on your side, but also on the other side of the farmers. Can you maybe answer this question already?
Usually it's on the other side. We are more digital integrated than the farmers, but it differs. So it's quite simple. You have to contact them by a person. You have to go to the farmers. To find single farmers, you have to go to. It's not possible. You have to take a vehicle like farmers associations, farmers interest groups, and so on. And there you can show your product, and they will assess it, and perhaps they will use it. But always I think it's essential to talk to the people directly, not by phone, not by mail, but directly face to face in that case.
Okay, thank you for the answer, Dieter. But I assume if you have like a big group with a lot of farmers and you all have to do those one-on-one contacts, it can be like a huge job. But
Yeah.
I also agree with you that this still works the best and is the best way to reach them, of course. Thanks for the tips.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's if it's a large group, most farmers are somehow integrated or organized in special groups. And if you get access to these groups and the groups find your product good and nice, it will be quite simple to get into contact with them. It's not yeah, well, you have to decide if you want to go to the group, the mass group, or if you want to have a customer for forever. Okay. So then, more questions to this issue? You have to click. So okay. Well, what do you miss in the interaction with them? The question told us itself sometimes. So in interaction, if you have a contact with these people, it's you have to know who these people are. You know how the education of these people. You know how to speak with the people, how the people speak. You have to know what the people want. And that's, I think it's essential to know, to speak the language of the people, either ways. If you go by internet or the mass communication, or if you get a single person in front of you, you have to speak the language. And in my career, sometimes it was really helpful to speak Plattdeutsch, to get the contact by the same language. And I think there are all over Europe a lot of dialects, and it's makes the people come closer together to speak the language, with the contents and with the dialect. So interacting with the key target group, you can make online and offline, and both personalized or general as a mass communication, as you told you. You have to know what you want. Only if you want to get awareness, get a feedback, or start a dialogue, or make a business. And I think our way to do in future is not to create awareness, but to start a business, and that includes awareness, feedback, and dialogue. Okay. Yeah, the click. Okay, so that's the first part of my presentation. If you see something like this, you can ask the next farmer, what's going on with this? What's happening here? And that could be a starting point for a dialogue with the farmer. And if you head to head with the farmer, you can start perhaps a business. So that's all for this first. Oh, yeah, okay, there's a next question.
Yes, indeed. We have the question, Dieter. It's again from the same person who asks, okay, but how to address a number of farmers who are not in any catalog or association, or to find local field owners and reach them, maybe by letter? Is that a good idea? Is that something that you have done before and that works?
Well, the first place, the first thing is to find the addresses. You can buy addresses, and they are quite good for the target groups. Well, if you find an advertisement in your mail, what do you do with it? If you know, but well, it's a good thing I can use, I will react. Usually it goes into the bin. If you make it by letter. In this case, if you have a number of farmers who are not in any catalogs or associations, you need the addresses, of course, and you need what to do. And I think you can't reach all of them. But I first said do a good thing and let others talk about it. I think this is the best way, and what's it called? The best way to get a persistent contact with them. It's not easy if you have to talk to people you don't know. But even if there are no associations, there are some relationships between these people in an area or in a group or a village or so, and you have to find the way, the vehicle, how to reach them. I think you have to use other people to help if you don't want to walk all the streets and ring all the bells.
We sometimes use also magazines that are especially made for farmers, or like newspapers that are for farmers, and often they have like a huge amount of registries for those papers, so we make like an article in it or a little advertisement or something. Do you sometimes use that, and is that also helpful, do you think, Dieter?
I think it's not a mistake to get known. I think you have to use many channels, and to get the awareness of a product or something like that, an article is quite good. We ourselves use advertising in our annual report to get the money to finance the annual report. But we are talking, or we are make the articles in this report by ourselves, not by the companies who want to say something. And if we make an article, we tell the farmers have that and that experience with that and that product. So it's not an advertising, but it's a more objective approach to a product. And well, it's hard to get the farmers on farmers if they don't have an immediate interest in something. They won't react at once. And if you want to get an immediate reaction, you have to go to the farmers. But nevertheless, I think if you have this ecosystem, you have to go many ways. The farmers have to hear something from the left side, something from the right side, something from in front of them, and then you get the awareness to open the farmers. Is the question answered?
For me, it is. If not, for Peter, you can still ask something in the chat or unmute yourself and ask it directly. Okay, Peter says thanks. So the question is answered. You can go on, Dieter. Thanks.
Yeah, okay. Okay, now it's the next presentation. It's market plan, market analysis. And for me, the question is how to create a business model. You can make a market analysis, market plan, but it's all in a business plan, in a business model or a business plan. The next one. Well, I used the business model canvas. It's made by an Austrian business administrator, I think, Mr. Osterwalder. But it's quite common in other versions and other circumstances. Well, it looks a bit complicated. On the left side is what we need to make a product. On the right side is what we have to sell the product. And then it's quite normal to talk about the costs and the revenue. What we have to pay to get the revenue. One click. Well, the value proposition is our product. What we have to sell. Next click. Number one is our customer and the relationship to the customers. Another click. No. There must come a 2. No, there was a 2. Well, the 2 is the channel to the customer, and I can find it. Okay, and then we will analyze the key activities, the key resources. Number 4. Another click. And well, and costs and revenue is the money we are talking about, money 1 and money 2. Question to the auditors. Have you seen this model already somewhere?
Maybe you can raise your hand if you saw this already before. When you click on the 3 dots below, you can have the choose the option raise your hand. I don't see any hands coming, so maybe this is new for the audience.
So, okay, that's great for me. I can talk more. Well, if you see such a model, how to deal with it? Usually, you work in groups to analyze every of these 9 points, and you will see that the relations between the points, that there are things who are not to be answered, and so on. Please, another click. Our product. What is our product? Another click. It's called in this way the value propositions. What we want to sell to our customer. I think some people really don't know what they want to sell. We make a FIE. Usually there is a result of it, and it's looking nice, and it works, and everything is okay. But nobody thinks about the value for the farmer or for the customer. What value do we deliver to the customer? And what problem we are going to solve for the customer? And are we offering only one product or a bundle of products and services? And have you asked the customer if he really does want this product or this value? Is that what needs to be satisfied? So if you have your product, you have to check if it's new, if it's work, if it fits to the customer, working to get the job done. Is the design accessible for the customer? Makes it a brand or a status improvement? Is it pricey? Is it expensive? Leads it to a cost reduction and or a risk reduction? Is it accessible for the farmers or for the customer? And is it usable for the farmers? Sometimes I think when there are developments from the scientific side, well, it's quite interesting it's nice to know what's going on, but it's usually not very helpful for the farmers. Usually they bring new aspects in the production, but where's the benefit? That's the benefit for the farmers if they implement of a scientific experiment. So the question for you, another click. What is your product to deliver? What you want to sell? What things you want to create in your product in these aspects? That's always already or it's another question to the people around me. Have you thought about what is the value you deliver? If you make a plan, a big sheet, and you ask in your group this question, is it answerable? Can you answer it? Can the group answer it? Sometimes it's very difficult to find something to make a product of something you find interesting. And I think all the things we have to do is to earn money somehow. And when we have a new product, it's to earn money or get some other benefits for you, especially for you, or for the society or for the customer, but it has to be paid. So you need to know quite well what your product product delivers. In our case, the VzF, usually to collect the biological and economical data of the pig production, and especially in the farms, and by knowing this stuff, improve the production. We in the consulting, it's also to inform about new developments and so on. So we send the farmers feedback of their production and steps to improve their production. And in the time it was it seemed to be necessary for the farmer to improve the marketing of the products, to sell the piglets and to sell the slaughter pigs for better prices, better conditions. That was the next step for our company. So groups of farmers who sold their stuff together, we made criteria for the product quality and so on. In the history, the next step was to find a way to assess, to make quality management better, and to sell this product quality to the customer who wants to give more money for that, and so on. So it's a development. Only one product is never, mostly one product is never the way to earn money and yeah, you have to make more things to make this thing work. So, questions? Okay, and the next. Number one in the counting, the customer. We talked about the farming community, and I don't think we have to work on this more, but we have to ask the question for whom we want to do this, what we are doing, and where and who are the most important customers. We can sell it, our product, with no large effort for the product production. So you have to know where you go. Next. Yeah, well, who are your anticipated consumers? If you can't answer this question, you don't need a business model. If you don't know whom to sell it, it's nice to know the product, but what does it help? So we have to show, we have to see if we are producing an item for everybody, for special people, for special groups, or do we have to make it how to say it, how to make a more or a bigger product with more services and so on. But you have to know first your consumer. Next one. And you have to build up the customer relation. So we talked about it in the example of the farmers. But always you have to remember, and that's money number one, it's costly. It's costly, we have to pay for it. Well, as an example, we are usually make it with the personal assistance. We have dedicated, the personal assistant means we are going to the farms and do our work, or we communicate directly with the farms. We have also a self-service service. We have a database where the farmers can find their the results of the slaughter pigs, and the results of the assessment of the organs, and so on. Automated services not very common, and working in communities is not really in our business the case. Co-creation either not. So next click. Well, how do you communicate? How do you make your relations to your customer? I talked about that, and I can, from the questions, I can see that is sometimes not very good and not very intense. I think sometimes if you have a new product, farmers should be, or the customer should be integrated in the creation of a new product. If you have a product with the co-working of the farmers, it's more understandable for them, and you can sell it by themselves. We developed a couple of software things for the farmers and for the consultants, and the development of this software was made by digital experts, by consultants, and by farmers. So the farmers were integrated in the creation of this product. And some people think it's the surface is quite of the software is quite too simple, but that's what the farmers can use and understand, and it's quite easy to show them if there are problems. So questions to this part? Okay, the next. Second, channels. We were talking about it with the how to find the field owners and so on. But you have to ask your customers how you should communicate with them. Which channels are accessible, are good for them, that they can react, and so on. I told you about we are reaching them nowadays by telephone, by WhatsApp, by meetings, by internet, or by webinars, on many ways. But all the communication is not to sell a product, but to communicate and to tell them how to work with the products we have and how to improve their production. The channels we have are integrated We had last year, I really don't think, several thousand participants in webinars for special questions, animal welfare, castration, and so on. And it was quite successful to find the way. And this was also a way to find new customers. We had contact with schools, we had contact with other parts of Germany, and so they know us, and we seem to be reliable for their interest, and so we got new customers. It has to be cost efficient. And as you know, it's not the telephone call, it's the person who makes the telephone call who is expensive. And so if you reach with the webinar 200 people, it's more effective than just calling 200 people. Well, and a very, very needed thing is to integrate the channels with the customer routines. We need to know what time the farmers are free to make a call. We need the time when you can go to them, and so on. Okay. The channel phases are below. It's first you have to rise and to rise the awareness is the best in a ecosystem you can work with. You have to evaluate the value of your product, and you have to portray. You have to know how to buy the stuff you want to sell, and how to bring it to the customers. And after sales is quite effective to make a new deal. In our way, it's a constant contact with the farmers. Even if I don't call for half a year, it's quite easy to get the contact again and to be heard from the farmers. Okay, next click. Well, if you are working with a model like this, you have to reflect about the channels you use now in the moment. And how can you improve these channels to meet the customer? Any questions? Okay, next one. Number 3, that's our side. What do we need to do to make our product our value proposition? How do we distribute them? How do we create the customer relationships? That was before. And how do we get the money? So we have to, first of all, we have to look on the production of our product. We have to solve in the production ways, and we have to use a platform for all the other things, the customer relationships and the revenue. It's not quite easy to define these key activities. It's not only usually we stop when we have a product what works, but usually it's not usable sometimes for the people. So the production process has to find the way how to optimize the value propositions or the product for our customers. Okay, next. Well, yeah, this is the question. How do you do the product working? The product working, usually it takes a time for them, for the product to be work in the interest of the customer. And we have, it's not only the production process. It's usually we end with the conception, with the concept, and we try some new things, and that's not the way it really works. We have to find a design, and we have to find usable product. Okay, next one. Well, the key resources. I start with the types of resources and financial resources. If you want to make a product, make a customer relation, find the customer, produce the product, and even the business things to plan the money is, you need human capital, and usually it's the most expensive, and most of it underestimated. You need more people and a bigger staff than you think if you want to start a business with your product. Or, and that's the next way then, later you need people working with you. So financial, it's the same way. You have to go to the bank usually, and the bank says, oh wow, what's with the business model? Did you think about all the things you have to think about? And if you have a good business model and a good product, they will give you money. We are in the privileged form to get public money sometimes, not for our job, but for information. The public, the government wants to use for their things. So that's a part of it. And usually we get our money from our customer directly. They pay a fee, they pay for the hours we spend on the farms. And if it doesn't work, we don't get money. If we, as a new business field, we buying and selling animals, that means we have a lot of money to turn around, and in that case you need a strong bank. Some things what's not really working, if a slaughterhouse is going broken or something like that. We had all this a couple of years before, and it was not very easy to find a way out financially. So the next one. So it's a question. Do you have, example given, enough human resources to make the product and the marketing work? It's a question. Anybody to answer it? It just needs yes or no. Oh, that's good.
We can see yes.
Well, we never have enough human resources to do it before, because we are paid by the farmers, and perhaps it's in a it's a smiley. It's not very common to find enough and good human resources to make it work. Thank you, Peter. Okay, the next one. The key partners. I told you about that some elements of the business plan are not very good to do yourself, because it's expensive, because it's you don't have human resources and so on. And the motivation for partnerships is usually its optimization and economy. So if you have a distribution way, you can cooperate with a partner. Some things, I heard about a project in Belgium. They cooperate with Boehringer Ingelheim. They sell medicine and many ways, and find ways to bring it to the customers. And you have to know your suppliers. In our experiment, we had trouble with suppliers because the sensors were not working the right way. We had problems with the sensors, and sometimes it's measuring the right data and so on. So you have to think about it, where you get the stuff from, and how to deal with things you don't are the core competence. So always, I think it's better to cooperate with companies, institutions who have a stabilized financial background. So you can make a reduction of risk and uncertainty. And if Boehringer Ingelheim pays the income, it wouldn't be so bad for you yourself. Okay, next one. Well, do we have already identified these key partners and their tasks? What do we want from your key partners? What shall they bring? We have always think about it that your key partners at least wants to have a win-win situation. And first of them will be earn money, and then let the other win. So you have to, the choice of partners is quite essential. Okay, next one. Money. Money is that's what we are doing for. We think, well, we have to estimate the cost structure. Where the costs come from in the business model, what resources are expensive, what activities are expensive, and most of all, it's not the production itself, it's the human resources who are very expensive. And you have to make a choice if you want to minimize the costs, or are you on the focused on the value creation. And usually, if we make some experiments, the core is more value driven, and not the way like money driven. And I think sometimes we have to turn our head away and our brain away sometimes from the value-driven aspects. I think sometimes we have to look more on the coast. I myself, I'm always an optimistic guy, and my way to interfere with the customers is very value-driven, because I know the families, and sometimes I forget that there are costs to be paid, and the fixed cost, the salaries, mostly the things they are more expensive. There are some other things we can discuss. It's the economies of scale. If you pay, if you produce more, it's usually it's cheaper. But if you have a limited market like we have with the pork production, the scaling up is very not very easy. And I have to see the.
In the meantime, Dieter, in the chat, Peter gave the comment that he thinks it depends on where you see more advantages, or maybe if it's cheaper for yourself, whether to keep your resource in-house or to use an external one. That is just a calculation. So this is, a suggestion and a remark of Peter. And then another person, Sarka, mentioned that the person agrees that this is good to have a key partner. For example, they have the Agricultural Association of the Czech Republic for the wide promotion, and also some local action groups for selling products from farms. So thank you for the comments and suggestions here.
Well, first to Peter, it's not only about the calculation. It's sometimes it's the question of power. Who makes the product has the hand on it, and sometimes it's better to keep it in their own hands. Some things. On a wider scale, we had this discussion with China, and to leave the production in Europe or bring it to China and so on. So it's ambivalent. It's not you have to see the advantages and the disadvantages. And to have a key partner is the same problem. What do you want to say in your business? Other people, to integrate other people in the business means they want to be integrated in the decisions of this product. And well, it's always the kind of your own interest. If you want to integrate other people, or is it better to keep it in your own hands? We made a decision concerning the software we have in the house to make it ourselves, because we like to sell it, but we don't like to let us told what we have to do. So it's a discussion within the project, or within the business model. And I think this way we do today is not a good, not the best way. If the best way would be if you have 5 people or 4 or 5 people in your own company, in your own organization, and they discuss all the points I brought in by themselves, focus on their own product or their own company. And I think that you can find the best ways and the interdependencies, what you have to think about, and might be even perhaps better. This could be only a motivation to do it. The next point. Yeah, some have not. The cost calculation. It's not only the simple cost calculation. You have to mention or to discuss the money coming from outside. If you get subsidies from the government or so, and you always have to ask, will it last forever if we get the subsidies? By now we get subsidies for our company, but it's decreasing, and from year to year we don't know if we get it again. So in the cost calculation, you have to find out what can miss with if there are no subsidies. What you have to do if there are no subsidies, and that means the cost calculation can be like the revenue you achieve, but it has to be a bit stranger. It's not only the cost; it has to do with the income you get. So the next one, revenue 2, the revenue streams. Well, what does the customer want to pay? If you have a product that's just the top hit, it's the only thing on the market, you can get more. But if they want to pay more, it's the way to find the price, and it's the way to find the way you get the money. And you have to see the revenue streams always in connection with the costs. And it would be good if you get more money back as you have to pay. Always. To get a safe business, to get a safe situation if there are changes in the field, to get longer time to survive in the business. Also, okay. The next one. Yeah. How do you want? How much money? I always told you that we are most of our people, the people are value driven and not money driven. But you always have to calculate and to find out what you want to earn, what money you want to earn. Okay. Yeah, Peter.
I will read it out loud for the people who will follow this recording afterwards. So in the chat now is that Peter mentioned that the product or service itself does not have to generate money. It depends on what we offer and what the purpose is of the product or service. For example, they can offer a service that will not generate money for themselves, but will create a database of users, which then can be further segment and offer other specific products to them. So that's maybe another thing.
Well, I have a question back. Where do you get the money from?
Peter, you can unmute yourself or you can answer the question in the chat.
Hi, Peter there. So I thought that you can create a service which the monetization will be based on that this service will generate, for example, a database of users, and you can use this database of users for other purposes of your products or services. So I mean, that should be some kind of support services. These support services will not generate money as itself, but will support your other products or other services to you for other selling.
Okay, I think I understand you. Understood you. But in a way, you sell the database, and for the further segments and other specific products, they will get the database not for free, I guess.
No. This database would I use just for my usage. So I mean, for example, I'm a software company, and I've created some application or some services which will be free for use. And by this services, I will create a big database which I can use for some additional services which are already well paid.
Well, that means that the database is worth something. It has a worth. You can put a price tag on it.
I thought that some kind of services is free. There's basic services. There are some additional services which are not free. They are already paid, and with these free services, you can create a big database. And with this context of this of the database, you can use or segmentate for another purchases of your products or another services, or you can of course you can resell it to another partners.
Well, for example, we create a large database from the farms, our company, and they go back, the abbreviation and so on, they go back to the farms, and we use the databases to improve the consulting. We get subsidies from the government. That means we sell the data to the government, and we don't want to sell them. We don't get the subsidies, and the data are worth a lot of money. And the government, I really don't know what specific interest they have in this data, but they want them to get them, and we would never give our data to companies who work with the data and use them. Only what we publish in our annual report is free to use, and I think that's the difference. To underestimate the worth of data, and even somehow the collection of the data costs something, and in your way how to get the money back. If it's not subsidized by financed by universities, by associations, by the government or so. I don't think you work for free, huh? Okay.
Okay, thank you for this interaction.
Peter, I think it's answering.
You're right. It seems that it's free, but it's not free because there are a lot of costs of development, of propagation, of some other additional costs. But the services you got example of a database of farmers. So some farmer can make a registration on your portal, can free registration on the portal. He can make detail about his farm and put a pointer onto the map. Okay, this is a free service, but he gives you data about himself. So you can use this data for other I don't know, services, purpose, or creation of other services. Mm-hmm. So I mean that the initial costs for this application, for this farm database, are maybe high, but in the other way, by creating this database, you can concentrate the data which are more valuable that can be used for reselling or used for another services. Mm. So maybe the registration is free, but the additional services are maybe topping of this or make top positions of the farms in categories, or some adding to the farm shop, or adding to some other services. That can be some services which can be monetized.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I agree. So you find that the farmers get the information back and evaluations, I think, for free. They deliver the data, and the data usually belong to the farmers, and they get the information back from the data, I think. Is it real? Is it true?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Last but not least, I give you a template for the modeling of the business model canvas, and you are free to use it. It's open in the internet, and I think sometimes it's quite good to make a brainstorm on this issue, and perhaps as a methodical way to do it, mind mapping might be good in these things. And I think if you use something like this template, there are a lot of arrows and interdependencies and post-its on it to make it work. The next one. Well, and here again as a template, the show build, and that's all. Next one. Thank you. By now, I have not more to tell. I think we are just in time.
Yes, thank you very much, Dieter, for giving this presentation. I don't know if there are some more questions for Dieter. In the meantime, I also have put an evaluation questionnaire in the chat. No worries, Dieter. It's more also to know the audience, the people who were attending this session that we want to learn and to know about. So can you please all complete this form? Are there more questions? We are running a little bit out of time, but because we started a little bit later. Thanks all for the comments and the suggestions. If you have more questions afterwards, maybe for Dieter, you can always send an email to myself or to Emilia from Biosense. She's the person who also sent you the invitation link, or to a person if that's your contact person of Gradient, the Spanish company. So the one who sent you the invitation and the link, you can always send questions to, and we will directly contact Dieter then for you. Okay, I will stop the recording and close this session. Thank you very much for attending all, especially thank you for you, Dieter. And if we receive some more questions, we will contact you. Thanks,
Thank you.
everyone. Have a nice day. Bye.
Thank you. Bye. Goodbye.
Okay. We are still online. So.